Hey everyone, welcome to the myQuest user demo, the myQuest LMS. So my name's Samuel. I'm the Director of Partnerships here at myQuest, and I want to quickly walk you through first, what's the learning engine that drives the learning experience inside of a quest in the myQuest LMS, and why is it different and how is it different? So when we looked at creating an experience online that was not only effective for knowledge retention, but engagement, we had to understand the challenges that existed in the space. And one of the biggest challenges that we see happening with online learning is there's no action steps. Now, there are different levels of action steps related to learning online, and some might be more passive, some might be a little interactive. But when we speak to actions and what's possible with myQuest, we mean a whole different level of actions available. And what this means is that the user doesn't just interact with content, answer questions, take a quiz. That's some level of action learning, but at a very base level. What we mean by action learning is the user is actually given an assignment, something to apply, an activity, some kind of theory they're learning, something you want them to do, a conversation you want them to have, a meeting you want them to lead, a document you want them to create. These are the kinds of actions we're talking about inside of myQuest LMS. And this is one of the big elements that we see learners not engaging with content. It's boring, it's not relevant. They really just sit there, click through to get it done. But with an action learning process, you can give them something to do. Take this learning, apply it in your scenario of work, experience what it does, experience the difference, share the value with your team. So that's the first piece of this action feedback learning triangle. So action steps to every piece of micro learning. Not only is the learning broken into micro learning, but every piece of micro learning can have an action step tied to it. Now, what's important to that is not just that they're taking actions and they've been given actions to do, but that they're doing, that they're reflecting on it and they're held accountable. And there's a system in place for that. A lot of solutions have some kind of action steps sometimes, but they don't have the right solution around follow-up, around accountability, around communication. So every micro action step or action step that's given to a user, they immediately engage in a feedback and reflection process. This means that the user is asked to think about what they did, share it then with a colleague, a mentor, or a cohort of learners that they're taking the course with, or even maybe just for themselves to reflect. But that's what we mean by feedback, is we take the user to reflect on what they've done on the action. And then that reflection is then fed into a channel of social activity and social learning, whether, again, it's a mentor or cohort. Trigger is the piece that closes the triangle. It gets the learner to take the next learning action, whether it's a gamification incentive, an automated notification, or some kind of webhook or integration to another software system that's being used to queue something up or make some automation occur. That usually has the learner taking the next action. And they move through action, feedback, trigger many times in a quest. So what you're seeing on my screen is a quest, specifically a blended quest, showcasing a leadership kind of process, a leadership soft skill training. And it's a blended quest, meaning there are live sessions on Zoom led by a facilitator. And our quests are broken into levels. So we have level 1, each level has a topic, the why. Level 2, essentials. That way the user knows what they're doing in the process of the steps in that level. So the missions that I have, which are the learning actions, are related to the topic here in the level. Now on level 2, you'll notice the live meeting is on September 20th at 4 o'clock. I have a link to join the virtual call of that meeting, but this could be a physical in-person meeting address. It doesn't have to be virtual. And a big thing that we've always been a proponent of, you don't have to stop delivering face-to-face in-person sessions to use virtual tools to create better outcomes in the training process. It's never about that. It's about how do you make that time that you have face-to-face more effective? How do you make it easier for the facilitator and the learner to get more out of that time together? So in this example, we have a meeting at level 2 that'll kind of block the user progress. You can set these meetings up to pause the cohort so they don't move past the meeting point until the call happens. And you can see on level 1, I missed the meeting and the recording's here for me to view. Now, if you're not providing blended training, no worries. You don't have to add the live meetings. Now, before I get into the content and showing what a mission contains, I want to quickly go over the navigation up top. We have myQuest. This is where the learning happens. You'll notice there's a tooltip at every section so the learner knows what they're doing. Now, I'll speak to habits in a second. One-to-one coaching. This is a channel that I have between myself, the user, and a mentor or a coach who's responsible for helping answer my questions, making sure I'm understanding or implementing the knowledge. So I can share anything to the coach, video, images, and documents, and the coach can reply to me. Now, you don't have to provide a coach. Just as mentioned before, you don't have to make it a blended experience. It can be entirely self-paced. Instead of one-to-one coaching, the user can have a journal where they just save notes for themselves. Or it can be a buddy where I'm then sharing and interacting with a peer that's going through the quest with me. The community page is a community of the cohort that I'm in while doing the quest. There can be several cohorts in a quest, separated entirely. You can also have one cohort that spans multiple quests. So you have one group of, let's say, new hires that are going through a series of information and quests, and they all get to share and interact about everything they're doing. So it creates that social, cohesive environment. Like, hey, I get to know my colleagues. I get to interact with them. It's fun. Jamie's sharing what she did off that first activity, etc. And I can share video, images, and documents here. Maybe I'm uploading images and videos to get feedback. Maybe I'm uploading files and documents to get feedback and collaboration work done. We'll go to the myQuest section. And going into the first mission, you'll notice the mission contains video for me to watch. And the mission is what it sounds like. It's a mission for the user to complete. I have information to learn. Passive learning is very important in learning. Not to say that it's not effective. It's very effective, but it's what happens around that passive learning absorption that matters most. So the user's absorbing information by watching the video passively. They're reading content, potentially reading some text, and then they're given, what are they going to do with that information? Or what are they looking, listening, or practicing from the information they just learned? How can they apply it? What do they need to decipher from the video? What are they trying to understand from the content? Whatever the mission is, whether it's to go for a walk during the sunset, to lead a team meeting, to create a certain document in a certain way, to walk the fire escape safety route, go for a walk during the sunset. You can be anything in the mission activity. Whatever it is, you describe it for them here. You give them all that they need, attachments, tips, the information in the content. As the user completes it, feedback. This is powerful at getting the learner to retain the information because they're taking that step to just reflect on what they learned and did. That alone, whether they share it with their coach, it goes to the private journal or the community, the fact that they're pausing and reflecting on what they just did will enhance the knowledge retention by a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and share my reflection after doing the learning activity directly with my coach. Now I could share it with my peer group in the community and get some responses, maybe look at some other things that peers have shared, kind of like we're in the classroom together. But I could also, maybe I have the private journal. This would say note to myself. If I have a buddy, it would also say share with and the buddy's name. In this example, Sue's my coach. And I've shared that reflection with her. And notice the gamification. I see a trophy. There's the reach the small star to unlock the next level, which, by the way, you can change where that small star is. Maybe they just need to do 10% of the missions in that level to go to the next one. Or it's 100%. And there's a quiz at the end of the level for them to test out at. You don't have to have a video at every mission. The user can have images. You can embed PowerPoint documents with action steps. You can even embed SCORM packages here or SCORM type element, like packaged content that is in a specific format that it's H5P is another name for it. It's like a video that the user interacts with. They flip cards. The video might pause and ask them questions. They might see an image that they have to look around on and flip to understand different parts. Then there's a quiz. There might be an audio section that reads to them a slide deck, and then they take a quiz directly in that. Those packaged forms of content, we call it SCORM or XAPI. We can host and embed those right here so the user can interact with it. And then down below, there are reflection questions that are forced. I have to answer these reflections now in order to move forward. So let's say up above, I've read what I need to do and learn and understand. I've gone through the content in the PowerPoint, and then I have to answer some questions to move forward. Now, what's cool about the writing mission is it's automatically going to share it with my coach, my buddy, or if I have just the journal, it's going to automatically save these reflections in my journal for me. So that means if we're really looking to create knowledge outcomes, support, engagement, and bring a human touch back to the online process, I have a direct communication every step of the way with my coach, my facilitator. They're not missing a beat of what I'm doing, what I'm understanding, or what I'm not. And this happens all in the flow of work. I was told to do something during the day. I did it, and I reflected and shared with my trainer coach, and they can actually reply to me. Now, maybe it was just a reflection of myself, but the same thing is still present. I'm reflecting. That's what's important. I have a questionnaire. I might have a quiz. You can see here there's a quiz in level 2, but quizzes can happen at any time. We'll take the questionnaire. It's multiple choice or short answer. And the purpose here is to gather information, get a baseline. Maybe you're doing another questionnaire survey throughout the training at 3 different points to measure their confidence, their understanding of subject matter, how effective they feel at certain skills. Game mechanics happening throughout the whole quest. Not only is the game mechanic of the bars and the trophies, those completion bars you saw, but the point systems, the quest and the levels and the missions they need to complete, all of that creates an incentivization. It helps engage the reward center of the brain. So another thing I want to speak to, it's mobile first. If I were on my cell phone, I don't need to go to a desktop or a tablet. It's going to fit. I'm not losing any features. I'm seeing everything that I see on the desktop. It fits and scales down to any device that's being used. So the last piece I want to speak to, habits. Maybe there's a habit the user is given. And this is about creating behavioral change, creating an outcome as a result, a work-related outcome. Every day, what to do. Send your sales summary to your sales manager. Here's why it's important. Here's the video that backs it up. And now in the My Habits card, I have this habit here and I can read more about it. I can check off when I've done the habit and it keeps track of my streak. I got 20 points. I've done it 3 days in a row, 1 day in a row, 20 times total, but only 3 days in a row. It keeps track of this information for me so I can be incentivized to get as many days in a row as possible, gather as many days total. We can set up all sorts of reminders about this. So I might have not done a habit in 3 days. I get a message. Maybe I got a 10-day streak. I get a complimentary, supportive message. And I can have one habit per level. So every level I go through, there might be a new habit introduced. And there's also the ability to have a map. The map lets the user see where they are in comparison to their peers. And the map can be in a few different forms. It can be in this map form that you see, which is like a neighborhood type theme. And I see my photo, I see where I am, I see my colleagues, and I see the whole journey of where we're headed. Level 6, level 7, and the end. Now, there's also a treasure map theme and a diversity, equity, and inclusion theme. This is what the user experiences inside of a learning journey. There's a resource center. So, if we look at what typically is given to an employee or a user when they engage in content or training, it's one screen. I click through, I listen, I take a quiz, and then I'm moving on. And also there's often not cohort communication. There's not someone following up with me. I'm not sharing and reflecting after each step I take. This is the power of this solution. When you build into this framework with our authoring tool, it's not only simple, it saves you time and money. It will create better learning and training outcomes because it has the learners applying, reflecting, and actually interacting with each other. So this is the myQuest user experience inside the user system. Now, if we go to the user dashboard, really quickly, I'll open up the user dashboard so you can see, like, what does it look like for the user if I'm in an organization and I'm having courses, let's say, assigned to me, or I have a series of courses that are assigned to me in a learning pathway. And based on my role as a manager, I have certain courses assigned. Some have a deadline, like a compliance training, and some don't. We'll get a chance to see all of it here. Let me open up my screen share. So inside the quest, if I back out to the dashboard, it lets me see a view of everything that I'm going through. A little bit of an activity report, 5 quests in progress, 10 quests assigned to me, 1 quest completed, and 0 missions completed in the last 7 days. And everything I'm seeing, some that were assigned, some that are available for me to take in the library, is all related to my learning group. Because I'm a manager, I had a few courses automatically assigned to me. I had this learning path automatically assigned to me, which is a series of 3 courses: Create a Mindset for Change, Leading Remote Teams, Feedback, The Trigger is Not the Way. And what's cool is this is sequential. So I have to do quest 1 to get to quest 2, or it's by date, or it's kind of mix and match. The first 2 are sequential. The next 3 I can mix and match, or mix and match the next 3. And the final one is by a date. There's a lot of things possible with the learning pathway. There's also the compliance. You can see I'm 53 days overdue on this internal sales quest. I also have a sexual harassment prevention training quest that I need to do. 92 days left on this one. And this is also a mobile first experience. So I can filter what's not started yet. Boom, start one that I haven't started. What's in progress? Let me finish one that I've started. So the ease of this, the simplicity of this, the user goes in, they know what to look at, they know what to click on, they know what's next. They don't need to think. It has an interactive, gamified look and feel. It's simple, it's intuitive, and creates the results you're looking for. So would love to have more discussions, answer your questions, go into more detail on certain elements. You can reach me here you can check out our website first, www.myquest.co, or shoot me an email, samuel@myquest.co. Give me a call, 646-859-2661. And I look forward to connecting, learning and sharing a little bit more about what we do, learning about what you do, and seeing if we can help support better training outcomes. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.